We 106.3 FM, and you're listening to The Morning Mojo with Stanley Bentu. And I have on the line a surprise guest all the way from the United Kingdom, and you knew her very famously as the face of Lux, and she is Patti Boulaye. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stanley.
Okay, how are you? How have you been?
I'm good. I'm very good. Working as hard as ever. Too many pies.
We would like to just ask you a few questions going back in time, and then we'll just come right over to the present.
Okay.
First of all, at least Nigerians first got to know you with the movie you did way back then. That was Bissy, Daughter of the River.
That's right.
Okay, yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about that and your experiences on the set of that movie?
No, it was a great movie because it was directed by Jabadoo.
Okay.
Who was absolutely a gentleman and great fun to work with. And I was very, very young when we made the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just wonderful. I was quite taken aback by the success it had, even though it was a very good story. And we had a fantastic production team. We had the team, I think some of them came from the film The Omen.
Mm-hmm.
They used to pick a country in the third world, so to speak, to produce a film there as tax loss. They called it, I think. It had a name anyway. And this was Bissy, Daughter of the River was one of those.
Mm.
And when I was approached to play the part, I had no idea it was going to be so mega. It was my first film.
106.3.
And, of course, great success on that movie, and that led to an entire career for you.
Well, no, really, I already had a career, which is why they came to me.
Okay.
I was already a face of Lux anyway in Nigeria.
Oh, this was about the time that you had become the face of Lux.
Absolutely. When I did the Lux ad, I was 17 years old.
Wow.
I didn't.
See, I didn't know that.
Anyway, as well.
Okay.
They certainly milked that one dry.
Okay. Well, but anyway, a lot of us got to know you mostly as the face of Lux during that period, and that commercial was massive. Tell us what it was like on set of that TV ad.
Oh gosh, do you know? Stanley, you're making me feel really ancient now, because I think it's about 100 years ago.
No, but by no means.
It was done here in London. It was, oh my goodness. It's probably fresher in the minds of people who saw it than in the minds of those who did it. The memory is so faded.
Okay.
Because, the Lux commercial was shown in Nigeria, but I really didn't see it until maybe about 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
So, you see, that's why I said it's probably fresher in the minds of... I saw it about 5 years ago. Someone sent me a link on YouTube. I'm just one of those people that kind of move ahead, never look back, for various reasons. You've
also been doing a lot of theater in the United Kingdom. How has that been?
Well, I've always done theater in the United Kingdom because that's how I actually broke into show business, was doing a theater show called Hair in the 70s. And then I went in to do about 7 other theater shows. And, but I mean, recently what I've been doing, I'm actually just coming back into show business because I have 3 clinics built in Nigeria, healthcare clinics.
Really? Where are they located?
Well, there's one in Bayelsa State, one in River State, and the other is in Delta State.
Wow, that's amazing.
I have 2 in Cameroon, in Bayangam and in Bafia. And I have a school in Lesotho with Prince Harry's charity.
Wow.
I kind of donated the money for my 6th clinic to them because I was just getting fatigued at that time. There last year, and I came the year before to a conference in Abuja.
Okay.
And, spoke at a conference in Abuja. So I was there about 2 or 3 times 2 years ago. So I do come quite often, but I just don't. They usually flying visits or to see family.
Talk Radio, we FM 106.3.
I was just speaking about the clinics that you had opened up, and I was just wondering what inspired you to do that.
Well, it's funny. It's very difficult to know where God is going to take you next.
True.
And I tend to, my life kind of evolves around that. I'm a Catholic, but I fast every Friday. That's just my mother's influence. She was Anglican. And, I chose to fast every Friday because she made us do that. And on my fast days, I just asked the Lord, where are we going next? What's the plan? And I'm just open to whatever his suggestions. But in 1980, it was the beginning of 81 actually, my husband was doing a deal in America because he's an arbitrator. He floats companies on stock exchange.
Okay.
And there was a company called Life Sciences, and they were dealing with a drug called interferon, which was to be used on cancer cells. They were sent blood samples of two young men who were suffering from Kaposi sarcoma, which is an ailment that usually affects men over 60. So these young men were in their 20s. They were actually 20. One was 20 and one was 21. And they had this immunodeficiency virus. At the beginning, that was kind of like the beginning of HIV. And so I felt I was really, I suppose, through my husband involved in the very first two cases of HIV.
Wow.
And I was really worried about Africa because those two young men had just come back from Zaire. They were in the merchant navy. And I thought, oh, no, please, not another problem, involving Africa. But of course we know a year later, since they had a name for it, this thing was massive. And I tried very hard kind of have, a project that would be preventative in Africa, but nobody would listen because they saw me as a young woman. I thank God that I look younger than my age. But really, they would not listen. And I guess, cut a long story short, I decided to maybe do something about it and build healthcare clinics in rural areas where people cannot get to hospitals, cannot find out about the prevention of HIV. And that way we can provide medical care as well as information and education and awareness on HIV. Really where it started.
106.3 Talk Radio BFM.
Wow, that is very inspirational, and that's such an amazing story.
Well, it'd be amazed. When people are in Nigeria, it's very difficult to know what's really going on around you because you're just trying to survive. But being out of Nigeria, it's much easier to see and be able to do something. I don't do it for praise. Heaven knows I don't do it for praise. I'm a Nigerian. Being a Nigerian is what made me who I am. The mother I had, the upbringing she brought me, has stood me in good stead before kings, queens, politicians, name it. And it's just simple respect, self-respect, respect for others, and consideration. So living for something other than yourself, which is God. And that's what, my mother brought me up. And I have to say, sometimes people would say to me, why don't you just drop this Nigerian bit? Because it doesn't stand you in good stead. I said, well, that's what I am. An apple cannot become a banana.
That is right.
Nigerian, even if it's a rotten apple, it's still an apple. I will not change anything about about me.
That's right. And Nigeria is eternally proud of you.
Oh, bless you. I am proud of Nigeria. I know we have rotten apples in our midst, but still, they should be, kind of talked out of it rather than being condemned all the time. Because people live up to what is expected of them.
106.3 Talk Radio.
Well, speaking of Nigeria, you have a daughter who was the most beautiful girl in Nigeria, right?
Yes, my daughter. Yes, absolutely.
How did that make you feel the moment she was announced as the winner?
Well, it was actually a shock. Because she was actually there. She started at university. She was at Cardiff University to study law.
Yeah.
She had an accident. She was leaning out of the window.
Oh, dear.
One of those raising windows fell down on her head, and she was unconscious. And when she came to, she couldn't, her concentration was bad. She couldn't read. Her eyesight was affected, but thank God all of that went. But what I did was I sent her home to Nigeria to my mother because, that's her second mother, and I thought I'll send her to Nigeria where she wouldn't have to read because they said she mustn't read for 3 months and she had to have absolute rest. And while she was there, Ben Bruce, I grew up with Ben and family, the Bruce's family. And, Mama Bruce, kind of loves my daughter. So she was always visiting Mama. And Ben was arranging the most beautiful girl in Nigeria. She was 17 at the time. And they asked her to come and help teach the girls. She rang me and said, Mommy, I'm teaching the girls how to, kind of presentation. I said, that's good because I've always taught her that from very early age. And then the next thing she calls me is, Mommy, they want me to join the competition. I said, well, do so, darling, but you don't expect to win because I can't imagine they'll be choosing someone you go to. And I did tell you that.
Well, guess what they did?
I'm aware how different I am, and they make it very clear to me I'm very different. So when she rang me and said, Mommy, I won. I said, won what? I said, you've got to be kidding. I said, you're going to come back here and do your studies. So that was why, unfortunately she won, and then she had to come back to UK. And I had to, it's actually pretty bad because they don't give the girls enough time to prepare. They do now, but at the time it was literally, 6 weeks before the competition when most girls here have a year or 6 months. It was great fun, and it was such an experience, thank God, because it was, in India, she kind of wowed the press in India. They thought she looked like Nefertiti. I'm actually looking at a picture here where the head of Indian press sent to me because the competition was in Bangalore.
Absolutely. And I have seen photographs of your daughter, and she is just completely gorgeous.
Oh, she's absolutely inside and out. She's a lawyer as well. Oh, by the way, you don't know this, but on her second year in law at Westminster University, she had the best result in the entire Great Britain on legal reasoning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beauty and brains.
Oh, no, she is very, very brainy. It's because when she was little, I banned television.
Wow, you must be very proud, and also we are also proud to have had her represent us.
She is just the most beautiful, and people say to me, the most incredible thing is she doesn't know how beautiful she is. I said, well, that's how she should be.
106.3.
That is just an amazing story. And I just want to move on to another incident in your life that you have mentioned and that I came across while preparing for this interview. Your meeting with the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, who you met some years ago. What was he like?
No, I first met him when he was 17. He was just such a shy young man, but his spirit this boy had the most beautiful, I must have been, oh gosh, when I met Michael, I must have been maybe 21, 22. I looked at him, I was an older 21, 22. When I was 16, I don't even remember being 16. I think I always was 40. But anyway, when I met Michael, I had this shy young man with pimples on his face, and he smiled. It was like looking in the eyes of an angel. And I thought, oh, Father, please, if I ever have a son, I want him to have this pure spirit. Michael was just a pure spirit. It's incredible that the world does not appreciate goodness. And then I met him again at Uri Geller's wedding.
Okay.
And surprising, Michael invited me to come and sing at his 45th.
Wow.
In Los Angeles. So that was really, and I took him. You
sang at Michael Jackson's 45th birthday.
And we took him on a train, 4 hours journey to Exeter. It was wonderful.
Wow.
I had the Royal train to take him. It was just wonderful. It's just brilliant.
What are you doing these days?
Well, my latest project has been, I say latest. It's something I have done for a long time. I have an academy called Bipada Academy. It teaches etiquette, protocol, good manners, consideration, reputation management, confidence, public speaking, name it. I have people on I have experts on Bipada now, like Harvey Thomas, who was Mrs. Thatcher's head of PR while she was Prime Minister. And I have John Major, Mrs. Thatcher, and Mrs. Thatcher's head of protocol, international, royal, and protocol. So I have really good people, different people on the, but mainly it was only because I used to teach young people, just advise young people on behavior, on how to acquire the right kind of confidence, you know, on leadership. You can't lead until you learn how to serve. You cannot. It's like having a cleaner in the house. If she can clean better than you, then you're an idiot. You have to be able to clean better than your cleaner, to be able to housekeep better than your cleaner. Otherwise, you're just going to take over, of course. It makes sense. If you want to be a good leader, you need to serve first. The Lord said that in the Bible. I teach these to young people, and decided to form it into an academy. We have 3 days intensive course at Queen's College, Oxford University every year. It's a diploma course. Well, you know, to be honest with you, we don't have, we do in Nigeria, hopefully, please God, long may it continue. We have grandparents that hand things down. Information in the West, I'm afraid that's not so. And so, you know, it's very, they need, I mean, I have mostly, for years, I've had private clients. They include people from Houses of Parliament, you know, the secretary, somebody who just thinks, you know, I need to. You see, the thing is, they know that when I say it's confidential, it's confidential.
And I'm sure a lot of leaders here would benefit a lot from attending that academy.
Well, you know, I mean, I do mostly for leaders. I do one-on-one because I wouldn't have them in a class.
Okay.
So I do one-on-one.
So you do one-on-one.
And then if they want to join a class, then that's different.
Okay.
But mostly I do one-on-one and polish them up. And sometimes I have really high-end specialist experts to come and work with them. If I have a high politician, for example, from maybe Singapore, then I would get, you know, Mrs. Thatcher's head of PR to come and work with them. You can't get better than that because he teaches even in the Pentagon in America. So, you know, you can't get better than that.
Okay. Well, is there any music that you're working on in recent times?
Oh, yes. I've just actually gone back to live performance. I'm doing 5 days in London next week. Okay. But that's just to boost my confidence back again in the entertainment quarters. I don't think it's gone, but until you do it, you don't know.
That is true.
Because of that audience, you just don't know what's coming. But I mean, that's no problem. It's like public speaking. I do public speaking. It's just I had to hit the right notes.
Well, of course, I'm sure that you will hit those notes.
I have a pretty good MD, musical director, so that's pretty good. I mean, rehearsals have gone very well.
Okay.
Talk radio, we FM 106.3.
How's your husband these days?
Oh, he's great, thank God. My best friend. He is really fantastic.
Okay. Well, our best regards to him. And I know you are very busy, so I'll just let you go. But I want to thank you so much.
For your message. You're such a gentleman.
I'm blushing.
It's a beautiful message. I couldn't say no. People, you know, I teach this. I say to people, your first line of the message you send can either get yes or no. And yours was amazing. It really was. I mean, I had to show it to a few people and go, how do you say no to this person?
Wow, I'm really blushing.
It's a good example because I tell you what, a lot of Nigerians don't know how to do that.
Well, thank you very much.
It's a pity because a lot of Nigerians, the language, their approach is all wrong. And you kind of go, ooh, I really don't want to work with this person. But you were incredible. I mean, I wouldn't have said yes, I can tell you that, if it wasn't absolutely. And you were, I mean, there was no way. You're such a gentleman. You're polished. It's amazing.
Thank you very much, Patti. I'm all flushed. I don't even know what to say.
Are you blushing now?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Well, I mean it.
Coming from you, that is quite overwhelming.
Yes, well, you have a good day.
Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless you. Take care.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.